Hey everybody, Jim Ingersoll here with the Real Estate Success Podcast. I'm super excited to have you along. I am going solo today like Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon, baby. And I want to talk to you about a really important topic, which is private lending. You probably didn't know it, but unofficially June has been private money lending month for me because I've been speaking about it so much. Next week, in a few days, actually, I'm going to be in Gary, Indiana with Tom Olson speaking on private money lending. And all month, the entire month of June, in Inner Circle, which I do with the always amazing Daniel Clayman, has been in Inner Circle, it's been private money lending month. Next month is seller financing month, and we got self-directed IRA month. But this month, June 2019, has been private money month. And if you're not in Inner Circle, I know a lot of our listeners are, we did open up registration again, and you can get all the info. It's $97 a month, super cheap. And it's rehabevaluator.com/inner-circle, and you can get all of that information. Hey, I want to thank those who have been signing up recently for Dealmaker 2020. You guys rock. I know you guys are ready to go, and I really greatly appreciate it. We've got a lot of people registered already, which is amazing, and we've got a brand new venue. It's going to hold a lot more people, and the speaker lineup is truly mind-blowing. I had a really nice call yesterday with the always awesome Jeff Watson from Ohio, and he's just an amazing guy with great values and crazy smart. And Jeff's going to be speaking with us this year for the first time ever, which will be awesome. And this is the 8th or 9th time we've done a live event, and it's going to be really, really good. So I appreciate all of you guys that have been pulling that together. All right, private money lending. Why would I spend a month, the entire month of June 2019, talking about private lending? Well, for me, it made a huge impact on my investing when I started doing it like 10 years ago. Long time ago. So why private money? And why not just go use a hard money lender when you need to get a loan for a flip? And why not just go get a bank loan when you want to buy a rental? What is it about private lending and getting rid of banks that I like so much, right? Why not the banks? Well, the number one thing is for a lot of real estate investors, when I talk around the country and I go to Charlotte and I go to Indiana and I go to the Quest Expo in August, a real common question when I say, what is holding you back? Like, what is your self-limiting belief in building out your investing? And a lot of people say, well, banks don't really want to give me a mortgage. And if you don't have reportable income on your taxes, it's hard to get a loan, right? You might have marginal credit. All of that means no financing. Well, my answer back is, why are you relying on a bank anyways? Because with real estate, one of the most awesome aspects of real estate, I believe, is leverage. Spell it out with me, Leverage. And if you use other people's money instead of the bank, you can go 100% leverage. And that'll allow you to really dive into your own wealth creation, build out your own cash flow for your flips, and also for all of your rental portfolio if you don't have to rely on banks. Some of the other reasons I really love using private money lenders is speed. There was a house just 2 weeks ago that came to us, and it had an urgent need to close in 4 days. 4 days. If I had to go to the bank, fill out a loan application, get an appraisal, go through all of the underwriting, there is no way I could have closed that in 4 days. Now, I could have closed with my own cash, but I could also just call a financial friend and say, hey, would you like to finance this deal with me and be my private lender? We did that. We closed in 4 days. And sometimes speed is really critical when you're buying houses from motivated sellers and there's critical needs along the way. Some of the other things I don't like about banks are personal guarantees, rent assignments, and mounds of paperwork with a gazillion signatures signing your life away. In my opinion, when you need speed and you got an urgent deal that's got to close fast, banks are deal killers. Now, a personal guarantee, when I'm lending money, I like personal guarantees, but you may want to consider going after non-recourse financing as often as you can get it. No personal guarantees. You know, a personal guarantee is like writing a check signing the signature line, and just handing it over to the bank for the future with no date on it, saying, hey, if anything ever happens to me and I can't make my payment or something goes wrong, just take that check and cash it. And that check is all of your other assets. It's your personal house, it's your entire rental portfolio and every house that you're associated with. So get rid of banks, know when to say no. Speed, velocity, momentum become really critical. And when there's nobody to say no to you, you can negotiate with tremendous confidence when you're face to face with a motivated seller, right? Because you know you're going to be able to close. Whether you're working on a single family home, an entire package of houses, a multifamily, self-storage, whatever it is. And when you know 100% that it's a great deal, you got a motivated seller, and you are very confident you can close, you can negotiate more effectively, I believe. Those are some of the reasons I really don't like banks. Here's a couple more. I don't really like the idea of owning assets in your personal name. And when you go to the bank and you get like conventional financing or a VA loan, that type of normal financing that the general public gets every day, they're going to want that deed in your own personal name. I like to own stuff in LLCs, entities, trusts, those kinds of things. And you can't do that typically very easily with conventional financing type of an arrangement. Now, you can get some commercial lending in an LLC. Sometimes you can train the commercial lenders how to do a trust. I've done both. But generally speaking, if you're going after like conventional financing, where you're going to put 20% down and fund your own repairs, which is a whole nother issue, you're going to want that in your personal name. They're going to want it in your personal name. So when you learn to use other people's money, other people's IRAs, your credit's really not a factor. The amount of money in your checking account's not a big factor, and your credit score really isn't not a factor either, and you can succeed a lot faster without needing great credit, without needing money in your own checking. You can buy houses with nothing down, truly. How would you like the idea of buying a fixer-upper and getting all of the money up front for your rehab? How would you like the idea of not having to pay a hard money lender 4 to 6 points? Guys, what do you think? How much does that really cost on a $200,000 loan? 4 points is $8,000, guys. $8,000 that you don't have to pay. If using private money lending, you typically may have 0 points or 1 point, maybe at the most. No appraisal, no credit report, no bank loan officer asking for every little bit of private information about you along the way. No 25% down payments, and all of your rehab money that you need to properly rehab the house and rent it or sell it at your disposal. So no need for a hard money lender. Everything is asset-based. It's based on the collateral and the deal that you're structuring, okay? And that's why it works really, really well. And you can save a bundle if you're flipping or if you're doing BRRRR, buy, rehab, rent, refi, repeat, right? You can build out your entire portfolio simply by buying fixer-uppers, building the value into it, funding that front end piece with a private lender, and then going long term maybe with the bank at that point if you want to. You could also do joint ventures because there's 2 different kinds of financing, guys. There's debt financing and equity financing. And when you have equity financing, you can't get that at the bank, by the way, guys. You're giving up a piece of your cash flow and a piece of your future equity in exchange for all of the financing from your partner. So understand there's 2 different kinds of lending with private lenders. Private lending is debt financing, points and interest, or no points and interest. You may be able to pay quarterly, you may be able to pay monthly. All of that stuff's negotiable. And then there's also equity financing, which is no points, 0 interest, no mortgage payments. But what you're going to do is you're going to share part of your cash flow and share part of your upside equity. I like doing equity financing joint ventures inside of a self-directed IRA. That's where I really like to do them. It works out really well. That's where you're going to give up 50% of your deal or a third of your deal or whatever you work out. So private lending works really well for fix and flips. It works really well for rentals. There are times where you're going to want to do debt financing and times where you're going to want to do equity financing as well. So you may be wondering now, like, all right, Jim, that all sounds really good. I would love to buy a house without cash in my checking, without needing great credit, without needing a bank, a loan officer, underwriting, mounds of paperwork with a gazillion signatures. But where do I get all of that? Well, the thing is, private lenders are real people that you need to build real relationships with. You don't find them on Facebook. Those guys are all pretender lenders. They're not real guys. Fake news, think of it that way. There's lots of fake private lenders out there. These are people that you may be already doing life with. Think of your family members. Think of people that you're doing business with. Think of your neighbors, your colleagues, people you used to work with. All of these folks can come into what I like to call your financial friend network. They might be interested in preserving the capital they have because the stock market was way down this year. Now it's sort of battled back, but that makes them nervous. So they have a little bit of anxious money. They may have a little bit of lazy money sitting on the sideline that they would love to invest. But the key is you don't need to push, pitch, and sell any of this to anybody, because you've got the greatest financial secret in the real estate market, and all you got to do is share it. You have the ability to go out there, find motivated sellers, create lead generation, find motivated sellers, negotiate, and buy houses with equity the day that you close. 99% of America does not have that skill set, but as a real estate investor, real estate entrepreneur, you do. So my question is, how are you educating your network? How are you telling them what you do? Quincy Long loves to say it loud, say it proud. How are you saying it loud and proud? If you follow like Grant Cardone and people like that on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, you'll see he does an amazing job with this. A few months ago, he had a post on Twitter that said, quote, would you rather invest which would you rather invest in to earn $50K a year? 17,123 shares of Apple at a cost of $2.9 million or $1 million in Cardone Capital Real Property Partnership. It's an intriguing question that makes people think. Like, I can invest $3 million into the stock market and create a $50,000 a year dividend, or maybe I could find somebody and partner with them on some real estate deals. So you've got to be able to say it loud and proud, and start with, like, what I like to say, your family and friends first, your brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, parents, close friends, neighbors, colleagues. Let them know what you do. Take them out to lunch. Tell them. And ask, let them know what you can do. Now, the pushback is going to be like, I would love to invest $125,000 with you, but I don't have it. Well, you need to educate them on things like self-directed IRAs, the CDs, they're earning less than 2%, equity in their houses, and things like that. Again, it's just an education thing. You're not out there selling a security. All you're doing is educating people on what you do. And it's really important that you don't break any securities laws. And if you ever have a question, I highly recommend you go to a securities lawyer and get it. Don't take it from me. I'm not giving legal advice, tax advice, or any of that in any way. Use video in your social media. Tell people what you do. Take them to your job sites. Show them pictures of houses you're working on. Show pictures of your team that's around you. And use that as a platform for just focusing on educating people on what you do. And then build long-term relationships with people and show them how they can work with you, how they can participate with you, how you guys can grow a business maybe together, or be formal partners potentially, or syndicate an apartment deal, whatever it is. And then from there, it's just a matter of working with the right people and really getting really good at your documentation. It is critical, how to protect your private money lender with title insurance policies, homeowners insurance policies, getting your promissory note, your joint venture agreement, your deed of trust, your mortgage. All of that stuff has got to be absolutely perfect. I recommend you put a lawyer on your team that can help you put it together. But I'm telling you, it's a little bit of work. And you've got to be careful in these areas I've highlighted today, but it is well worth your time to put it together so you can build out that real estate investment the way that you want to. Tell me, send me your email with your questions, jim@renovatedhousing.com. Let me know what you think about private money lending. Leave it in the comments. Was this helpful today? How would you rate this podcast on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being it was awesome, Jim. Hey, leave me your comments. I really greatly appreciate everybody in the Real Estate Investor Success Podcast group. You guys are loyal listeners, and those of you guys that leave me reviews in iTunes, it is super appreciated. Thanks for the shares, reactions, comments, and all of that. Put together that private money lending partner plan for 2019, and you'll be ready to explode your investing. Thanks again to everybody joining me in Inner Circle, rehabvaluator.com, inner-circle. And thanks for everybody going to dealmakerlive2020.com. See you guys later and have an awesome day.